Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Yahoo plus UPS. Okay, I'm already thinking some funny things with the name. Let's go. Okay, so for this one, the name that I have in my head is just Yahoo PS. It sounds like hoopla, it sounds like Yahoops, I don't know, but I like it. So I think what we're gonna do is maybe somehow try to incorporate Yahoo up here, then PS down here, and then get this exclamation mark somewhere in here and play around with the different colors. So first and foremost, I just want to see what it would look like if we take this kind of neon purple and make it be where the brown is. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Kind of almost like the Warner Brothers logo. Now I do want to go ahead and erase the U and resize PS just so that we can maybe fit Yahoo above it. So I want to turn Yahoo to be this same color as the yellow. So let's just adjust that and move it down to fit. Now I'm going to take the exclamation mark from Yahoo and resize it so that it kind of fits in here with PS. Finally, I want to play around with skewing the different letters and getting them in position, and here's the final result. Again, the name on this one is so funny. I actually really love this kind of crazy neon purple with the yellow overlaid on top. And again, the name Yahoo PS, you just can't beat it. It sounds straight out of a Dr. Seuss book. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Netflix plus IBM. Okay, let's go. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking, I love how stylized this logo is, like how it almost looks like a piece of paper just folded 3 times. So I'm wondering if we can maybe do that for the IBM logo. So maybe it could be NBM, and then we take the B and the M and try to make them look almost like the Netflix in shape. And then I think once we get done with all that, we add in all these little bars to the NBM. So in order to recreate this shape, I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of take rectangles that are of the same color and size and try to just kind of make them look like they spell out a B and an M. I don't think the M will be that hard, but the B, we might have to do some finagling. Okay, so here's what I've got. I think that actually looks really cool. Now, as you'll notice on the original, there's like some shadows where the paper or whatever would be like behind the one on the top. So I have to do that for all of these. So I'm just gonna go in and add little shadows just where there would be a shadow like underneath the paper. Also, I noticed the N has a slight kind of like bubble on the bottom. So I'm just gonna add that to each of these as well. Okay, I am just loving how that looks so much. I really don't want to ruin it, but I'm gonna have to add in all of these little negative spaces. So I think what I'm gonna do is just select like each of the negative spaces as a rectangle. All right, so this is a chaotic, crazy mess, but theoretically I should be able to just hit delete, and here is the final result. This was so fun just trying to figure out the ways that we could make the B and the M look like this kind of Netflix logo with the different shadows and overlays and almost like it's origami. I don't know about the name on this one, but I think overall the effect looks really cool. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have McDonald's plus Walmart. Okay, let's go. Okay, so this little kind of flower thing on the Walmart logo, or sunburst or whatever it is almost identical to the color of the golden arches. So I'm kind of wondering, what if we made each one of these be a golden arch and just kind of repeat the pattern and see what the logo looks like? We might have to round out the edges to make it look a little more similar to this. And then for Walmart, I think we just call it McMart. These fonts are almost the same anyway, and we can maybe do the Mick in this red and the Mart in the blue. Okay, so we've got the golden arches layered over top of this flower, and now I'm just gonna resize it so it's the same exact size as one of the little bursts. Now I'm gonna flip that one vertically and just move it down to match at the bottom. And I duplicated that, and now we're just gonna rotate it this way. Then I'm gonna do that one last time and erase the logo underneath to reveal this one. Okay. Okay, I tweaked it a little bit and made the inner corners be rounded, and I love that it kind of looks like a little snowflake in there. Now on the word Walmart, I'm gonna erase wall. Lastly, I'm gonna float in Mick from the original McDonald's logo, and here is the final result. Honestly, this is one of the ones that is just so silly, but when it works, it works. I'm really happy with how the kind of golden arches flower thing that we created turned out. The name McMart, I don't know, could be funnier, but I think this one turned out pretty well overall. Let me know what you think in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Sega plus Xbox. Okay, let's go. Okay, for this one, I'm thinking what we do is call it Segs Box. Kind of a play on words. I know TikTok doesn't like that word, but I think it's funny that that's what people use in text, so I think that's what we're gonna go with. I think we'll use the Sega font for the Segs part, and then obviously the Xbox font for the box part, and then I think we'll kind of maybe replicate this part and make a blue circle with the Sega S in it. So the first step is gonna be to remove this X from the Xbox logo, remove the A from the Sega logo, and duplicate the S. So now that I have all three elements, I am just gonna put them together. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is make a blue circle that is basically the exact same size as the green circle. Take the Sega S and put it inside, and here is the final result. The name on this one, you just can't beat it. It is just such a perfect play on words with how people censor themselves on TikTok and YouTube anyway. I don't know overall if I think the design is necessarily better, but the name is just so funny to me. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have CBS plus Google. Okay, so what I'm thinking with this one is taking the little big brother I from CVS and making it be the O's in Google with that same color palette. And then I think it'd be funny if we did Goo BS, so it kind of spells out goobs. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is select the I and mask it out, duplicate it again, and then give them a color overlay so they have the same coloring as the Google logo. Now I need to resize them so that they fit in the regular logo. Okay, here's what that looks like. Now I need to erase the goal part from the Google logo, bring in the S from the CVS logo, and finally give the B and the S the color overlay from the Google logo, and here is the final result. Honestly, this one is just one of the ones that I love the name so much that I don't even care about the design. I just think it's funny. I really was thinking Goo BS, but then we just get goobs, and I think that's hilarious. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Dunkin plus Nintendo. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm kind of thinking for this one, we have to go with the name Dunkin Nintendo. And then maybe we do like the whole pill around the outside in either orange or this kind of pink to kind of make it look like almost like the Nintendo logo is in the Dunkin style. Okay, since I've used the Dunkin logo so many times, I actually have the font stored. So we just need to type out Tendo and make it orange, of course. Okay, this one is a long one. I'm gonna go ahead and take the little apostrophe and move that to the end. Now we need to erase the Nintendo word from this one and make that bubble pink. And finally move it into the bubble, and here is the final result. Honestly, the name on this one is just so funny. We could not have asked for two better ones in terms of a name. The design overall, I always love putting this Dunkin' Donut font onto any other logo because the font itself is just iconic and kind of funny. But I think this one turned out really cool. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Nike plus IKEA. Okay, I've got some good ideas for this name already. Okay, so my idea for this one is to name it Nikea, and I'm thinking we take the font from IKEA, put an in front of it in that same font, maybe try to make it be like italicized like the Nike one, and then basically put that whole logo inside of a blue rectangle and make the logo yellow. Okay, so the first step is going to be to isolate all of the letters in IKEA and mask them out. Okay, now I'm gonna type out an in, and the internet is saying that it's Futura extra bold. That looks pretty close. Although I do think we need to stretch it out a little bit. Okay, now that we have that, I am gonna go ahead and erase the word Nike from the swoosh logo and turn the Nikea and that one yellow. I'm also gonna slightly italicize this one just to match the original Nike logo. Now that we've got that, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the little bubble inside of IKEA. Finally, move it into place, and here is the final result. This one looks pretty much exactly how I pictured it in my head, but I just think the name, you can't beat Nikea. The colors on the IKEA logo are iconic, so it kind of really just still looks like the IKEA logo. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Hello Kitty plus Pepsi. Okay, let's go. Okay, for this one, basically what I'm thinking is kind of like chopping the Hello Kitty logo in half and mimicking this shape when we do it, and then making the top half of her head be red, the bottom half of her head be blue, and then we put Hello Pepsi kind of in the middle of all of it. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna try to do is move the Pepsi logo kind of into place where I need it, and then select just this top red part. Then I should be able to make that go away, and we'll have like a clean line of exactly where to chop the Hello Kitty logo in half. Okay, so I'm gonna mask that out, and this should work. Perfect. Okay, now we just need to color them both in, the top being red and the bottom blue. Now we need to move them apart to make that gap just like in the Pepsi logo. I'm gonna grab the word Pepsi and then move it down here. Bring in the word hello from the Hello Kitty logo. Finally, I'm gonna add a stroke around the whole thing to match the original Pepsi logo, and here is the final result. I don't know that I've ever done one with the Hello Kitty logo before that wasn't a different mascot or animal, so putting the Hello Kitty logo with Pepsi on this one I think was just so funny and weird, and I love when that happens. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have, Disney plus Patagonia. Okay, let's go. Okay, what I'm thinking is we take the castle and we just kind of put it in the background of the mountains. I think that alone will really make it look cool, but I've always thought that the Disney D looks more like a backwards G, so I'm thinking, what if we still name it Patagonia, but we take this and make it look like the G? Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is isolate the black mountain from the Patagonia logo and do the same thing from the Disney one. Okay, so now what I should be able to do is move this right behind that mountain. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. I do think I'm gonna flip it horizontally just so that the tip here isn't conflicting with this tip. I think I'm gonna add a white stroke around it too, just to kind of match that. Okay, I think that's looking really cool. Now I'm gonna isolate the D from Disney, and I'm gonna erase the G from Patagonia, move in the Disney G up to the top, and flip that horizontally too, so it looks like a G. I'm gonna move everything just so that it fits a little better, and here is the final result. I think this one looks so good together. I am just so happy with how it just came out exactly what I pictured in my mind with that castle in the background of the mountain. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Domino's plus Pepsi. Okay, we've got a similar color story. Let's go. Okay, so I think we have to do the obvious. We have to keep the same colors and maybe go with the Pepsi ones because they're a little brighter, but I want to take the Domino's logo and just twist it like this and then make it go above and below the word Pepsi. And then, I don't know, Domino's with Pepsi, I'm thinking like Domsy, Pep Nose. I don't know, we'll think about the name. Okay, so the first step is gonna be to rotate it and make the Domino's logo perfectly up and down, and then resize them to be the exact dimension of the Pepsi circle. Now I'm gonna make this red and this blue be the exact red and blue from the Pepsi logo. Okay, now I'm gonna select just the top part of the Pepsi. I'm gonna make it go away, and then I'm gonna select this whole part from the red. No, that didn't work. Okay, now I know what to do. I selected that part and I'm gonna erase the part below it to give the Domino's logo that exact curve from the Pepsi one. Okay, went ahead and did that for both of them, and now I'm gonna select all of the letters in Pepsi and mask that out. And even though, yes, it does mean cucumber in Spanish, I think I'm gonna make it say pepinos. So I'm gonna select some of the letters that I need to keep and some that I need to get rid of. Type out pepinos, and here's the final result. This is one of those ones that is so simple, yet works so well together. I am just really happy with how this one turned out. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Minecraft plus Microsoft. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I don't think we can really make these two combined as they are, but what we could do is bring in this Microsoft block logo, kind of rearrange it in this square pattern, and then change the top to be each of these different colors. Okay, so the first step is going to be to duplicate this and move it into the right positions. Okay, here's how that is looking. Kind of a little wonky, but I'm hoping we can just trust the process. So now what I'm going to do is remove that first one just for now so that we can select just the top of this one here. And then we can adjust the hue and saturation to make it look more yellow, similar to this one down here. And then we can adjust the hue and saturation to make it look more yellow, similar to this one down here. So now I'm going to duplicate that again and move them to the other blocks and start adjusting those so that we get them closer to the orange and then this one to the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of them, and here is the final result. This one is so strange, but I am so happy with the direction we went. Obviously, I would never use this as like a real logo, but for the purposes of reusing this Minecraft block and making it fit within the Microsoft logo, I think I nailed it. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Diet Coke plus Google. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we make it say Diet Kugel, and I want to take the C from Coke, make it be the color of the G, and then obviously take the diet and then integrate it somewhere. I think if we put it after the L and the E, it would be really tiny, so probably somewhere in here. Okay, so the first step is going to be to select the word diet and mask it out, and then do the same thing for the C, mask that out, and then get rid of the O in here. Now I'm going to make the C the same color as the G, make it the same size as the G, and move that into place, and then we're going to have to erase the G that's underneath. Just to bring a nod back to the original logo, I do want to make the C and the O connect like that. Then I'll move the word diet into place. And here's the final result. In all honesty, this one is so simple yet so fun. I love imagining the idea of like an actual Diet Google, like kind of like a dumb phone comparison. I think it looks pretty fun, and honestly, I think Google just changed their big G logo. I think it's about time they changed their smaller one. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Pepsi plus Android. Okay, so I think this one's pretty simple. What we're gonna do is take the Android logo and put it on the top and bottom of Pepsi, change this to be the different colors from each one, and then I think we make it say Pepsoid. I'm still debating on whether we use one font or a mix of both. So the first thing I want to do is isolate the red and blue parts from the Pepsi logo, and then I want to move the Android guy into place. So basically what I'm going to do for each side is isolate just the two antennas and then turn those to be the right color for the top and the bottom. And then I'm gonna take the two eye holes and delete them. And then I'm basically gonna do the same thing to the blue part. Okay, I brought back in the word Pepsi, and now I think I'm gonna move the I over so we can add in an O and a D. Okay, here's how that's looking. Now the last thing is I wanna make the Pepsoid be this color, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and here is the final result. I know this one's kind of simple, but honestly, these two logos work perfectly together, and I am so happy with the final result. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Red Lobster plus Hello Kitty. Okay, let's go. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the Hello Kitty like this big, thick outline and the cutesy style, but on the Red Lobster logo. And then I think we just have to call it Hello Lobster. So the first thing I'm gonna do is down the opacity on the lobster and then make a new layer where we're just gonna start tracing over all of the details. I'm gonna try to make each one a little bit more bubbly and just kind of cutesy to be more in the style of the Hello Kitty logo. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the claws. Okay, here's what that looks like. Now I think we need to add on like the idea of some ears, the little eyes, as well as whiskers. And I'm gonna go ahead and draw the bow and then we can figure out where to place it after that. Okay, I'm thinking honestly we just place it like right behind the ear. Kind of in the same place, but not exactly. All right, I brought that into Photoshop, and now the last step is just to bring in the word hello from Hello Kitty and lobster, and here is the final result. Honestly, this one turned out so funny. I love whenever I get the Hello Kitty logo and I get to take that style and put it onto some other logo. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Google plus Max. All right, let's go. Okay, so I'm actually thinking that this G looks kind of similar to this A, so I'm thinking maybe what we do is put this G instead of the M and the X, so it says gag. We could do mag, but that sounds a little too close to something I don't really like. So I think we'll do gag, and then we'll make the A have these colors, but then put it on this black background. So the first step is gonna be removing the M and the X, and then bringing in the G and then duplicating it so that we can spell out the word gag. Okay, just had a thought. What if we make the G's in the style of the A? So kind of this white, but with the gradient. So to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do a color overlay of white. And then I think I'll just take a brush and kind of get that gradient effect. So just something subtle like this. Okay, so now we have this, and now I'm gonna go in with the different colors from the Google logo and just kind of paint them onto the A. And then we can do the green, and finally do the blue, and here is the final result. Here, come here. Okay. Honestly, I love any moment that we can get to put the Google colors on other things and see how they look. I really, really hate the Max logo as it is. I'm not saying this is much better, but I just wish they would play around more with something, and I hate the font they chose, but I really like this mashup. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Snapchat plus Warner Brothers. Okay, let's go. Okay, are we gonna do this whole video with you on my lap, baby girl? All right, so what I'm thinking for this, TBH, the Snapchat logo kind of looks like this shape, just upside down. So I'm thinking, what if we turn the whole Snapchat logo upside down? We take the B from Warner Brothers and put it in here. We also maybe take the blue and make the ghost blue, and then we take, instead of the W, we do an S. So first, and probably the most easiest thing to do is just turn this upside down. And then I'm gonna turn that ghost blue. All right, now I'm gonna select the B from the Warner Brothers logo. We're gonna mask it out, and then I'm gonna move it into place. Whoa, that fits perfect. Okay, now I just need to find an S that kind of matches. Oh wait, that's actually a pretty good match. So now I just need to play around with like skewing it so that it fits perfectly within the space. So I'm gonna play around with that, and here is the final result. Honestly, I think we did a good job of mashing the two logos together. Do I think the final result looks good? Not necessarily, but I always love a chance to use the Snapchat ghost, and I'm always so mad that Snapchat took his little face away. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have McDonald's plus MTV. Okay, let's go. All right, so basically what I'm thinking is we take the McDonald's logo, turn it this bright yellow of the MTV, and then add on, you know, this kind of background drop shadow, and we take the TV from MTV, put it on the McDonald's one. But I think to go one step further, we need to take a little C and put it there so it makes McTV. So first thing I'm gonna do is make the McDonald's logo that really bright yellow. And I'm gonna grab the C from this McDonald's logo and then turn that to be that same bright yellow. Okay, I duplicated it and now I'm gonna just make that be that kind of drop shadow like the MTV logo has. Finally, I'm gonna select the letters TV and mask those out, place it within the logo, and here's the final result. Honestly, this one worked perfectly with the two giant M's. I like the name McTV. I honestly feel like it could have been a collab back in the day between the two brands. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Burger King plus Pepsi. Okay, let's go. Okay, basically what I'm thinking with this one is we take these two little pieces from Pepsi and turn them orange like the buns, and then we put them in the same placement as the buns. And then for the text, I think it'd be funny if we call it Burpep Sing. So Burpep Sing. Okay, and then I think we'll do that in this font, but with these colors. All right, so the first thing I wanna do is select these two pieces from the Pepsi logo and turn them orange and move them into place. Now I'm gonna erase the GER as well as the K and replace it with Pep and Sing. Last step is gonna be just to grab these colors from the Pepsi logo, and here is the final result. Honestly, the name on this one, I know there's gonna be some hate on it in the comments, but it just fits in with the proportions so perfectly. And if you are one of my old viewers, I had a series where I called them logo babies, like what if two logos had a baby together? And I used to come up with some of the craziest names, and this one definitely reminds me of that old series. Let me know what you think about this logo mashup in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Starbucks plus Shell. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we take the colors from the Shell logo, but the Starbucks girl, and basically put her into the shell. And I am gonna say that I honestly think that this reminds me of this painting. You know, kind of have the ethereal Starbucks girl with the shell. So I'm intrigued to see what it looks like in these colors, and then I think we'll name it Shellbucks. So the first thing is going to be to select all of the different elements from the Starbucks girl and turn them red. Now on the shell, I am going to erase all of the inner red lines, and I'm going to place the Starbucks girl within it. I feel like it's kind of missing those spiky elements to imply that it's a shell, so I'm just going to bring them back, just not as severe. Now I'm gonna take the word Shell from their original logo and then the word Bucks from the Starbucks one, and finally make the word Shell be the color of Starbucks, and here's the final result. This one turned out exactly how I pictured it in my head. I do always like when I see the Starbucks logo in a different color because, I don't know, there's something about that green that just makes Starbucks so iconic, so it's weird when you see it in a different context. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Stanley plus Starbucks. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we combine the two characters. So I definitely want to take the bear from Stanley, but maybe give him two tails, just like the Starbucks girl has, and kind of play around with where I want them to live. Like one can go over here, one can go over here. And then they are both wearing crowns, so I think I'll just add a star to his crown. So I'm gonna start by erasing the name on Stanley first and foremost, and make the bear that color, oops, green. Now we need to get rid of the existing tail as well as these back legs. And I'm gonna roughly sketch in where I want the tail to go. So I think I want like one to come up maybe over here, and then one to go kind of on this side of the bear. All right, so this is what I have so far, and now I need to go in and add in all of the little scale details. All right, I wasn't planning on it, but I think we have to give her some wavy strands of hair. Okay, and the last thing we're gonna do to the icon itself is add a star on the crown. Lastly, I did find the exact font Stanley uses, so I'm gonna go ahead and type out Stanbucks, and here is the final result. Honestly, this one was so much fun to make up this kind of mythological mashed up creature, and I think it looks pretty cool together. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have 7-Up plus 20th Century Studios. Okay, let's go. All right, these weirdly have some similar elements with the kind of shadow effect going back. So what I'm thinking is taking the number, well, this whole kind of 7 up part up here and translating that down here instead of the 20th. And then I think what we should do is make everything be these colors. So I'm gonna need to go through and like add in the green for all of these shadows back here, and then on the other side add in new shadows for this kind of darker color right there, and just do that for the whole logo. So the first step is going to be getting rid of the 20 up here and adding in the 7 up to the top. And then first what I need to do is recreate the kind of white rectangles for that shadow effect for 7 up. And then still using the pen tool, now we need to go ahead and start creating that colorful shadow effect. All right, now that we've got all the light green in there, we're gonna go ahead and do the dark green wherever there is shadow. All right, here's how that's looking. Now the final step is just gonna be to change the background color to this green, and here is the final result. Honestly, I'm shocked at how well these two work together because they do kind of have similar shapes and that kind of shadow effect going on. I really like adding some color into this 20th century black and white version of their logo. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Firefox plus Google Chrome. Okay, some rivals going on here. All right, so these ones do have a very similar shape already with a kind of circle in the middle and then this kind of swoopiness going around outside of it. We definitely have to keep the fox, excuse me, and I think this center circle right here, I want this going around the edge to include a gradient very similar to this one. So the first thing I'm gonna do is see if I can make that inner purple circle look a little more blue to match the chrome blue. Now I have the tail selected and I'm gonna go ahead and just delete that. Now I'm gonna move the chrome logo into place, but I don't really love that it's the red and the yellow behind it, so I might transform it so that it's more showing the green and I guess the green and the red. Make these have gradients in them just to kind of match along with how the Firefox one looks. Lastly, I'm gonna add in a white circle around it just to give the appearance of a stroke, and here is the final result. This one looks pretty much exactly how I anticipated it looking in my head. You know, when I think of apps, normally I think of kind of like a square with rounded edges, but both of these happen to be circles, so they fit pretty perfectly together. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Penguin Books plus Android. Okay, let's go. All right, basically what I'm thinking is we make some kind of robot penguin. So I'm thinking we take some elements from the penguin, such as the wing shapes and the little facial expression of it looking up and the eyeball and the feet, but we translate that into the Android robot and then probably put the whole thing on this orange background. To start, I'm going to go ahead and take away his eyeballs as well as move this antenna to the other side so it looks like he is looking upwards. I'm gonna use the pen tool to draw in the beak and kind of like the size of how it would be if it was on the Android robot. And I'm gonna take the eye and that little white part from the penguin and put it on the Android logo. Next, I'm gonna erase the legs, elongate this part, and draw in some penguin feet. Lastly, I wanna take the belly from the penguin and put it on the robot, make the wings look a little bit more like they're flapping, and finally put it on that orange background. And here is the final result. Honestly, this one turned out exactly how I pictured it in my head. I love that it is just a little penguin robot, and that is one of the most adorable things I could ever think of. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Nickelodeon plus Starbucks. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking for this one is somehow we can stretch the Starbucks girl to fit in this weird blob shape. And then I kind of want to go over it with my pen tool in Procreate to really give it this kind of loose blobby effect. And then we can change the whole name to Starlodian, maybe making that in green and the girl in orange. So the first thing I want to do is just worry about stretching this and making it look almost like that initial Nickelodeon shape. So I've got my shape down, and I'm gonna use that as a reference to start bringing in all the different orange pieces into this, and then eventually getting it in that kind of more free-form style. Okay, I love how that looks. Now time to bring it into Photoshop. Okay, here it is. Now I want to make the word Nickelodeon be green as well as that outline. Then we're gonna erase the word Nick, replace it with star, and here's the final result. Honestly, I love how this one turned out. I didn't know if the little gooey, drippy Starbucks lady would work out, but I think it actually turned out really cool. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Pringles plus Hello Kitty. Okay, let's go. Okay, basically what I'm thinking is we do the style from the Hello Kitty logo, but put it onto the Pringles man's head. So we do this thick outline. Definitely gotta add the bow and the whiskers and the nose in there. And then I guess we'll just make it say Hello Pringles. Maybe the hello will go up here somewhere. So in order to achieve this, I'm thinking I'm gonna select all of these different parts from the Pringles guy, flip Hello Kitty so the bow's on the right side, and then delete the eyes, and move it into place. Now we need to make sure everything is in place. So like making the mustache and the eyes a bit different shapes and smaller, just to all fit within there. I'm gonna bring the eyes down and the eyebrows up and over. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the word hello from the original logo. And originally I was thinking up here, but I'm actually thinking maybe we put it down here and try to rearrange all this just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera, and here is the final result. I'm actually surprised I've never done this one before because these two logos just look so similar yet so different. I love, love, love how this turned out, and I think it's something pretty silly, but also works really well together. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Twitter plus Adidas. Okay, so weirdly, these have kind of similar shapes, with it getting bigger over here and then tapering down to a small almost tail down here. So what I'm thinking we do is we take the Twitter bird's head and put it on top of the Adidas logo right here. Similar things, put the wing right there and the tail right there. And then we're gonna have to figure out how to resize all that and what color we want it to be. I'm thinking maybe we make the whole thing blue, but also it could be good to combine it and make like blue, black, blue. So we'll see. So first step is gonna be to put the Twitter bird's head over top of Adidas and then cut out the part that we don't need. So I got that lined up and I went ahead and made the Adidas part blue, and I'm gonna do the same thing with lining up the wings here. And I've got the back part lined up, so I'm just gonna delete this and turn that blue as well. I am liking how that's looking, but I do think I'm gonna go ahead and make this middle bar black. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And here is the final result. Honestly, this one is definitely one of the more simple ones, but I do think that the shapes from both of these logos really worked perfectly together when I was mashing it up. Not too sold on the black bar in the middle, but I don't know. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have 7-Eleven plus Lego. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking for this one is we call it 7-A-Lego. We make the 7-Eleven logo kind of look in the style of the Lego logo. So that means putting in this kind of black border to the green part right here, putting a black border around everything else, and then making the 11 part be in this Lego colors and font. So the first step is going to be isolating each of the different parts so that I can add a stroke to each of them. And separately, we need to make this say a Lego. So I'm gonna grab the E and duplicate it. And then we need to recreate these strokes by adding to the one that we just created. Last step is gonna be to bring a Lego into there, and here's the final result. Honestly, this one turned out exactly how I pictured it in my head. It's basically just a little bit more playful than the original 7-Eleven logo in that Lego style, but I'm really happy with this one. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Instagram plus Mastercard. Okay, basically what I'm thinking is we make the Instagram logo be a circle, including this inner ring, and then we change the colors of the gradient to be more red, more yellow, and then obviously the orange in the middle. And then I want to change this to say Mastergram. So the first step is going to be to make the Instagram logo into a circle. And now I need to add a white ring around it. Okay, so I went ahead and duplicated that and put it down here. And now I'm going to try to change the hue of this one so that it looks a little more red. Now I need to make the left side look a little more red, the right side look a little more yellow, and the inside look a little more orange. Lastly, I'm going to bring in the word gram from the Instagram font, and here is the final result. Honestly, it's always up in the air on what it's going to look like when I change the Instagram logo color, but I think this one really lends itself with the red and the yellow. Let me know what you think about this mashup in the comments. Whichever logos this filter lands on, I'm going to mash them together. Okay, up first we have Twitter plus Ferrari. Okay, let's go. So I'm thinking what we do is put basically the Twitter bird's head and wings on the Ferrari horse. And then, I don't know, I want to rename it something for Witter. I don't know, we'll come up with something. So first I want to make the horse blue and try to place the Twitter logo on it so it kind of lines up. Okay, this is looking so silly. Now I do want to go ahead and add in some of those details, just similar to how it already was on the Ferrari logo. Okay, I think I am gonna go with Furritter. So we're gonna need to take out all of these letters. So it has almost every letter that I need, but I'm gonna take the I and just duplicate it and make it look like a T. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that again, and here is the final result. This one is so silly, but I do think I got the style of the Ferrari horse down with the mashup of the bird. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Google plus Lego. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm thinking we have to call this one Googo. And basically all I really want to do is take the colors of the Google logo, but put them in the Lego font and then still put this red border around the whole thing. So the first thing I need to do is separate out the G and the O from the Lego logo. And then just duplicate that and add another O so it says Googo. Now that I have all that, I need to change all of the letters to be the same color as the Google logo and add on the same black and yellow stroke to it. Finally, I need to place it in the red box, and here is the final result. Honestly, the name of this one is just so silly, and I love whenever I can put the classic Google logo with its kind of boring font into something more fun. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Starbucks plus Foot Locker. Okay, let's go. Okay, basically what I'm thinking is we take this guy and put him on the Starbucks girls, and then I think I want to call it Starbucker. All right, so let's bring the Foot Locker guy into position, color him all in green, and then I need to start shaving off parts of him to give him our Starbucks girls physique. Now we need to draw over her complete face and put his head on it. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit so it looks more like the hair is like integrated into his hair. Okay, and I think that's what we're gonna go with for the icon part. All right, and lastly, I do wanna use the color of the Foot Locker logo, but make this part say Starbucker. So I'm gonna change it to be that color, and here is the final result. This one turned out about exactly how I pictured it in my head. The Foot Locker guy with the body of the Starbucks girl just looks so silly. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Google plus Chanel. Okay, my wheels are turning. Okay, so what I'm actually thinking is bringing in this Google logo because it kind of looks like these C's, and putting it over top of each other and flipping so it matches that. And then I want to name it Choogle and make it be in the Google font and colors, but add in the Chanel C to the beginning. So the first step is going to be making the G be the same size as the Chanel letters and flipping that horizontally. Okay, move that into place, and why does this actually look like a super cool logo? Next, I'm going to grab the C from Chanel. Now time to bring in the Google and add an H, and here is the final result. I think picking the just G Google logo for this fits perfectly, and the name is so weird and funny. Let me know what you think about this mashup in the comments. I'm gonna go ask my husband to pick out two logos, and whatever he says, we're gonna mash them together. Hey, can you give me two logos?
Lacoste
Okay.
and NASA.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so this alligator's tail very similarly matches this little swoosh right here. I don't know. That might be a huge gator, but maybe I'll just extend the tail and put the gator underneath the word. I definitely want to call it Lacoste. And then I feel like we kind of have to put a space helmet on the alligator. So first I'm gonna remove all the letters from NASA. I isolated the gator and I'm gonna move it into place. And I'm thinking I might just turn it all red. And using the pen tool, I'm gonna attempt to make the tail and this kind of shape connect. Okay, here's what we're working with. Now I need to make it look like the ring is kind of going around it. Type out Lacoste. Lastly, I'm gonna try to create some kind of space helmet for him, and here's the final result. Okay, let's go see what Travis thinks.
Space Gator! Why does it say Lacoste? Oh, like
Lacoste and NASA?
I forgot it was a mashup.
Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Pizza Hut plus IHOP. Okay. Alrighty, so I think we have to call it Pizza Hop. And what I'm gonna try to do is change all of the font to be this color and then make the hop letters fit perfectly in underneath the Z's and within the hut. And then I definitely wanna make these two reds the exact color. So the first step is gonna be to remove the word hut and also remove the I from IHOP. I'm gonna move it into position, but I wanna make the O and the P fit just a little bit better within the logo. I wanna make these two reds be identical. Okay, you really can't see that much of a difference, but I just like knowing that they're the same. Lastly, I'm gonna make the word pizza be in this blue, and here's the final result. Honestly, this one is pretty simple, but I think the overall final piece looks pretty cute. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Snapchat plus Starbucks. Okay, let's go. Okay, basically what I'm thinking is take the inner part of the ghost and just kind of put it down here where the Starbucks girl is, leaving her crown and her tail and her arms, but then putting her face on to the ghost's face. All right, so my first step is gonna be just to erase everything in the Starbucks logo that we don't want to keep. All right, here's how that's looking. Now I'm gonna just select the ghost and mask him out and bring that right on to the Starbucks logo. I'm realizing her face is the same color as the ghost, so I'm actually going to invert it and make it the color of the green. Whoa. I also want to erase the Starbucks girl's arms. Lastly, I'm going to erase everything from underneath the ghost, and here is the final result. Honestly, this one looks so weird, but I love how the two fit together perfectly. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm going to mash them together. Okay, up first we have Google plus Oreo. Okay, I see the vision. Let's go. Okay, so my initial thought with this one is to take this G and O and make it say Goorio. And then I want to make it be in the exact style of the Oreo logo, but all the letters be the colors of Google. My first step is going to be duplicating this O. Then I need to find a G that kind of matches that vibe and resize it so that it looks good with the rest of the logo. Okay, I brought it into Procreate, and now I'm just gonna add on all of those shadow colors that each of these has. Now I just need to add on this blue outline. Then I need to add on the light blue outline around the whole thing. Now all I have to do is make all the colors match up with the ones on the Google logo, and here is the final result. This one came out pretty much exactly how I envisioned it in my head. I don't think it sounds very appetizing or like a good website, so the name maybe isn't the best, but I think it turned out really well. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I am going to mash them together. Okay, up first we have Pringles plus Lego. Okay, let's go. Okay, basically what I'm thinking is we call it Pringos, and we make it be in the font style of the Lego logo, but stretch this out so it's almost similar to this red shape, and then make the Pringles guy into a square. Okay, I found a similar font, so now I'm gonna type out Pringos. I'm gonna go ahead and give it that look that the logo on the Lego has. and make a red rectangle behind it. Now I'm gonna make a white square slash rectangle about the size of the Pringles guy. And now I'm just gonna select all the assets from the Pringles man and move them into the box. And here is the final result. I just love this little square Pringles dude so much. And it turned out pretty much exactly what I was thinking it would in my head. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Hello Kitty plus, ooh, the Crocs logo. Okay, so my thought on it is basically just to trace around the Crocs logo in this kind of thick, bold line and then give him whiskers, a little nose, and a little bow. So I'm gonna down the opacity on it so then when I'm drawing my line, you can see it a little more. And I'm just gonna trace completely around him. I'm trying to do my best to make it a little more cartoony as well as I go. Okay, now that I've got that drawn, I'm gonna add those beady black eyes from Hello Kitty and the little yellow nose. Next, I'm gonna add those whiskers. And finally, I need to draw on the bow, and here is the final result. I don't know how this one could have possibly turned out any different in my head, but it looks so adorable and funny. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Target plus, ooh, the Olympics logo. Okay, I think I know what we have to do for this one. So my thought is basically just to make each of these circles be the same size and have the dot in the middle like the Target logo, but make it all the colors of the Olympics logo. Okay, so I'm gonna start by resizing them to be the exact size of each of these circles. And now I just need to make each of them the exact color of the Olympic rings. If you'll notice on these, they're all interlocking. So I might have to make them be a little bit more squished together so that I can get that interlocking look. Okay, I got them all closer, so now I can just select each individual one and just paint over it, and then it should give it that interlocking look like that. So I'm gonna do that with all of them, and here is the final result. This one's kind of simple. It just kind of looks like the Target logo duplicated all over the place, but something about it I like. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Lay's plus, ooh, NASA. Okay, let's go. These shapes go really well together, so I'm thinking what we do is the blue will go behind this kind of Lay's red swoosh, which kind of matches the NASA one. And then I want to call it NASA and, wait, Lesa? I want to call it Lesa and do it in the NASA font and then add in all these starred elements to the back. So the first step is just going to be to get rid of all of the letters. And then I'm gonna bring the NASA logo up and put it behind it. I found the NASA font and I'm just gonna type out Lesa. I don't like that the little loopy is hidden back there. So I think I'm gonna put it to the top and select it. So I'm just gonna resize it, and here is the final result. I think this one turned out so funny. The shapes work so well together, and the fact that they both have this red line through it. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Disney plus, ooh, Skyline chili, a family favorite. Okay, let's go. So if you don't know what Skyline is, it's like a chili place in the Midwest my family loves. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is take the castle back here and kind of put it behind the Skyline logo and then change this to say Skyline Disney. So the first thing I'm gonna do is select this whole logo and this outline around the logo. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the Disney castle. And I'm gonna move that into place behind the Skyline logo. Let's resize it a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and color the entire castle that Skyline blue. Lastly, I'm gonna delete all of the word chili. And I'm gonna make it say Disney, and here is the final result. This one does not really look that different than the Skyline logo, and I think if you were to just glance at it, you wouldn't even know. But I think it turned out really cute. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have John Deere plus Twitter. Okay, I already have the vision. Let's go. Okay, this one's gonna be pretty self-explanatory. Basically what I wanna do is take the Twitter bird and flip it and turn it yellow and put it in here where this deer is. But I also think I wanna give it some of the deer elements like the antlers. So the first step is just gonna be to remove the deer completely from the John Deere logo. And I'm gonna fill in the Twitter bird yellow. Then I'm going to go ahead and rotate it, flip it, and resize it so that it fits better within the box. Then the final step is gonna be just to take just the antler from the deer, place it on the bird, and here is the final result. This turned out pretty much exactly how I thought it would. I feel like the antlers on top of the Twitter bird is giving a jackalope or like one of those made up animals in the desert, but I think it turned out really cute. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have PlayStation plus FedEx. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we do the font from FedEx, but in the style and colors of the PlayStation logo. So for instance, taking the F and making it big and red, and then maybe taking the X so we can keep the arrow in there and turning it and making it the same colors as the S. So the first step is gonna be just to take out the F, and I'm gonna fill it in red. The PlayStation logo is a little skewed, so I'm gonna do the same thing for the F. Then I'm gonna grab the E and the X from the FedEx logo, and basically do the same thing for that one. So here's what that looks like. I've selected the E and the X, and now I just need to make it the same colors as the PlayStation logo, and here is the final result. I think honestly this looks really cute. I love this PlayStation logo to begin with, and it's always fun for me to see what it might look like with other logos. I think I've done the Xbox one in the past. Let me know what you think about this FedEx one though in the comments. I recently mashed together the Pringles and the Lego logo, and this is the design I came up with, but a lot of you in the comments were suggesting that I should have used an actual Lego minifig head for the Pringles guy. So today, let's redesign my redesign. So first I need to find an image of a Lego head and bring that into my original design, and I'm gonna remove all of the features. I'm gonna angle it like the original logo. Then I'm gonna grab all the features from the original Pringles logo and finally mask them all out. And here is the final result. I think this turned out so cute and definitely looks way more like it fits into the Lego universe. Let me know what you think about this redesign in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Tide plus Pepsi. Okay, two circles. Let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we make it say Tide C, and we make it kind of be in this font overlaid on top of this logo. And then for each of the little rings, I think I'm just gonna duplicate that here and cut out the middle where the white is. So the first step is gonna be just to duplicate each of these rings. Okay, here's that with none of the logo on it. Now I wanna make each of these rings be blue and then red and then blue. Okay, so I've got my two halves right here, and now I just wanna go ahead and select the inner part of the Pepsi logo and subtract it from this. Here's what that looks like. I found the font, it's called Compacta, and I'm gonna type out C. Now I just need to mask that out. Lastly, I just had to put it all together, and here's the final result. Honestly, this one looks pretty cool. I was not sure exactly how it would look with the red and the white and all the different color combos, but I'm happy about it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Instagram plus Microsoft. Okay, let's go. Okay, basically what I'm thinking is removing all of these parts of the Instagram logo and taking this square and making one of each color, and then going back and taking the white parts of this one and putting it in the middle of all four squares. So first I need to go ahead and remove all of the white parts, and we get something like this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and resize it and get one in each of these squares. This is what I've got. It is very trippy. Now I'm gonna go through and put a color over top of each one of them, and it looks like this. And then if I take the blending mode and set it to hue, we have this. Now I'm gonna select all of the white part of the Instagram logo and mask it out. And then we should be able to just move it in front of this. And here is the final result. Why does it kind of look like a Pokemon gym badge? Honestly, the vision came fully together like I thought it would, but I'm still not too sold on this as a logo as a whole. But let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Red Bull plus Crocs. Okay, I think we know what we have to do. Well, I'm just gonna take the Crocs head and kind of put it up here where these bulls are, and then draw out a crocodile body instead of the bull. So I'm gonna rescale the Croc just so we can get a little bit of an idea of where the head's gonna go. And I'm gonna go over the general shape of the logo with that red, wrapping with the tail kind of like whipping around, something like that. And I wanna add a bunch of like spikes. Now for the legs, I kind of do want to mimic the bull and make it look like they're kind of like running. Now I need to go through with the yellow and add in all the little details. The original Croc logo is kind of happy, but I definitely want to make this one like a raging crocodile. So I've got the one in there, now I'm going to add the other, and here is the final result. This one is one of those ones that's just really fun to make, and I love the final result. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have BP plus BMW. Okay, let's go. Okay, my idea for this one is to call it BPW. And then somehow I'm gonna take this shape here and put it in this circle and then make it be blue and white. So the first step is gonna be to remove this M. And apparently this font is just Helvetica. So I'm gonna type out a P. Now I'm gonna move the BP logo into the middle. And basically I need to color each side blue. So I'm gonna make these boxes and then eventually we can get them down to the right size. So this is what I have, but if I change the blending mode to be hue, it should look perfect. Last step is, instead of the circle around it, I want to make it look like almost the flower. So I'm going to figure out how to do that, and here is the final result. This one is one of those ones that's just kind of funny at the end of it all. It doesn't necessarily look like an amazing logo, but my vision came through. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, we're going to mash them together. Okay, up first we have NBC plus Nike. All right, let's go. All right, so I'm thinking this is gonna be pretty simple. What I wanna do is take this exact shape and just put it in the place of each one of these little guys. Add in this little beak once I get all of those. Okay, so now I need to go ahead and make multiple different copies of the Nike logo and just place them around. Okay, this is what it's looking like. Now for each of these, I need to go ahead and add a color overlay in the exact colors from the NBC logo. Now the last thing I need to do is just duplicate this little tiny peacock beak, place it onto the other one, and here is the final result. Again with this one, I don't know where I could have gone wrong. The two just fit so perfectly together, but it did come out exactly how I envisioned it. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Netflix plus KitKat. Okay, basically what I'm thinking for this one is making it say KitFlix and kind of keeping it within the similar style as this original KitKat logo. But I think what could be cool is if the whole background was like, hold on, these stripes from the Netflix original intro. So the first thing I want to do is just erase anything from here over. And then since this is kind of like a font that's clearly created just for this logo, I'm gonna go ahead and try to recreate it, do a color overlay with the brighter red. All right, the last step is gonna be to bring in all of the colors from the Netflix intro. So I'm gonna resize that, cut out the oval, and here's the final result. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Apple plus Tide. Okay, let's go. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking is recreating the Apple logo multiple times and coloring it in with these colors. And then I want to use the Tide font, but call it Tapple. So the first step is going to be coloring the apple in different colors. So I'm going to do a color overlay and make it be yellow. Then I duplicated it. I'm going to do the same thing with an orange one. Okay, I did that one more time. Now I'm going to do basically the exact same thing, but to the little leaf. Now from the Tide logo, I'm gonna steal the T and I'm gonna move it up onto the apple. And I found out the Tide font is called Compacta, so I'm gonna type out Tapple. It's not going at the right angle, so I'm gonna make it go up and then skew it this way a little bit more. And then finally, I just need to go ahead and add on that white stroke to it. And Here is the final result. I love when I can add color to the Apple logo. It reminds me of the very old, almost rainbow logo that they used to have. This one turned out really cool to me. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Wikipedia plus Pepsi. Okay, similar shapes. Let's go. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking is we need to take the colors from Pepsi and put it on the Wikipedia logo. I definitely want to add this black ring around this one as well, and I'm going to call it Whipsy. So I've got the Wikipedia logo. Now I want to add on a black stroke about the size of the Pepsi logo. Next, I'm going to resize the Pepsi logo so that it's just the same size as the one we're working with, and select the red and blue and then mask them out. Then I'm gonna adjust the layer style until we get something that works. That is looking so good. Now I'm gonna go back in and select all of the letters from Pepsi, mask those out, and then go ahead and erase the P and the E. I'm gonna duplicate the I and bring that over. Finally, I need to find the perfect W font. Select just this part right here, mask it out, and here's the final result. Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna really care for this one, but it turned out so fun, and that little tiny puzzle piece cut out at the end really makes it all come together. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have BMW plus Red Bull. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we call it Bull MW, and then I'm gonna put this little symbol right here, and then instead of these bulls right here, I wanna make them be two BMWs heading toward each other. So I'm thinking I wanna use this car because it kinda has a similar shape to the bulls. So I'm really gonna have to just outline this and try to just get in as many details as I can so it still looks like the car, but also looks like it's in the same outline style. Okay, here's what I have. Now I need to color it in with the same red, resize it and place it and duplicate it and move it to the other side. Then I'm gonna recolor in the BMW logo to be that yellow and resize and place it where the other one is. I'm gonna take the word bull, type out MW, and here's the final result. I love my little illustration I did for this. I think the two cars coming together looks so cool in this style. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Monster plus McDonald's. Okay, two M's, let's do it. Okay, I think it's pretty obvious what we have to do here. I think I'm going to trace the McDonald's M, but in this kind of jaggedy style of the Monster logo. And then I'm gonna add some shadows in here to kind of mimic the shadows in here. I wanted to say McMonster, I guess, and make sure to include that little O in there. So the first step is just gonna be to go ahead and give the McDonald's M those squiggly, drippy, claw marky effects. Okay, here's how that's looking. Now I'm gonna color it in yellow, and then how each of these has kind of like a little shadow on the side. I'm gonna take that same yellow, deepen it a little bit, and then start adding it in to each of the sides. That is looking really cool, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the red background back to it. And where it says McDonald's, I'm gonna draw it in the kind of monster font that they have going on. Last thing I need to do is make space for the logo, and here is the final result. Honestly, this came out exactly how I pictured it in my head. I love the McDonald's logo in this, I don't know, grungy style. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever two logos this filter lands on, I'm gonna mash them together. Okay, up first we have Chevron plus Microsoft. Okay, let's go. Okay, so basically what I'm thinking is making these be the same color, so like blue and blue, and then duplicating that and putting it in each one of these squares and making them be the different color of each of the Microsoft logo. And then I want to make this say Chevrosoft. So the first step is going to be duplicating this blue and then moving it down instead of the red. Now I'm going to resize that and duplicate it 4 times. Now I'm gonna go ahead and select each one and adjust the hue and saturation so that we have a kind of decent match to each of the colors. Now that we have that, I want to take just the first part of Chevron, type out Chevrosoft in that font, and here is the final result. Honestly, this one turned out so cute. I love whenever I get the Microsoft logo and I can just change the different colors of each logo, but something about this with the Chevrosoft at the top, I don't know, it really brings it all together. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments.